Hello and welcome back. I'm Joe, and this is Foundation. It goes into full release today. This is version 1.10.1.2, and it has been in early access for many, many years. It got some awards in 2018, and so it's been out for a while. And it's a wonderful game. It's a medieval city builder without a grid, where you can build organic cities, and it's about making it pretty and about making it functional, but it's also complicated and has a relatively big depth to it, which lets the game become really difficult at times, if you will. So if you're into that, this is probably one of them. Early access gameplay and looks were very different than this version. I was kind of surprised by that they made that many changes, but I think it's more pleasant. And you know what we're going to do? Just jump right into it. Let's play. So you can go coastal, you can go fluvial with a little river in there, and then hills, whatever you want to play with. Since this is default and it just came out, I'm expecting that there are a couple more things that need to be tweaked, so I'm going to stick closely to default. You can play whatever you want to play. I will play just a classic because that's play the game as intended. Perfect for your first playthrough. Sure, I don't have that many hours in it, so we may as well do that. Relax and play on your own? Build a prestigious book. Yes, please. Thank you. And then what do you want to play here? It actually remembers part of your icons that you had. And I think I want the flounder. Yes, let's call this a flounder. It's not a flounder. It's not a flatfish. So we're going to be the salmon guys. And obviously with the things in the back. And then, well, if you need to play with that, you can do whatever you need to do here. But we are in Bergdorf, and I cannot say this name, so we're just going to go sadly with Beebaljo. Thing. Almost can't say that name either. So that's cool. But this should all work. If you want to customize this, go for it. So the game lets you jump in and tells you first how to use the keyboard, which is wonderful. But we are here now. Your first territory. This is similar to what it was before, but things just look prettier. The trees got different. Just kind of everything about this has changed a little bit, and I cannot zoom out any further than this, so don't yell at me. But you can see the actual map view, and as you can see, the map is actually quite humongous, and we can have a lot of picks of where we want to start. The starting location is not unimportant. You can move everything later on if you feel like it, but it probably isn't a bad idea to start in a place that actually makes a lot of sense. And I like places that are not on water, because water takes away a lot of your building space, and that have a lot of resources. And I think I see this one as a candidate and this one as well. They're nice and centrally located and have a lot of places to go to. I do see more like rock formations here, which are potential mines later on that you want to get to. So you do have to expand at some point to make sure that everything kind of moves forward, which is why I think I'm just going to get with this territory down here. But there's a lot to choose from, obviously. So action module. Yeah, we got some stuff down here to build. So let's move to our territory, which I'm sure there's a hotkey for this. I just don't know what it is. Now let's find it. So this is our new little territory. Where you place your things does matter, because you will have to have residences built at some point, and they prefer to be in certain locations. Sometimes like to be higher up, sometimes they like to be near water, sometimes they like to be next to royalty, but most of them don't like to be next to industry. So you have to kind of place things in a certain way. And I like this location specifically because to the left we can do a lot of residences and expand that, and to the right we already have most of our resources kind of laid out, so we can get those things all started. The very first building that you will build, and if you click on the question marks on these guys, they will be your tutorials if you want to run with them. You can also just turn the tutorials off if you feel like that, but right-clicking on this seal, that's what it's called in English. I have founded the hamlet of Bergdorf. Wonderful. So we're a little hamlet, and there's a first new building available. This building is the only building that you don't need people to build it for you. You do have to spend a couple resources, which you have some of them right now. But yeah, this is your workshop. You can make sure that it is where you want it to be. You can turn around, do places. You can move it again. This is to delete, not to confuse with build down here. But once you're happy with where it is, and there's a little arrow here telling you where people get in and out, you can build that. And then it is your responsibility to make sure that people get assigned to the place where they should be assigned to. Now, people aren't just people, because all of these have currently no job experience at all, and that is fine. So it doesn't matter who you assign, but over time, they will level up in the professions that they have spent the most time in. So it is in your interest to stick with where they are, if possible. Since it doesn't matter right now, I will just use a shortcut and click the assign available villager. And they are now our builders. You can build another builder if you want to, but you don't have to. If you look at some more detail, best suited for surf will become important later when you have multiple people groups, is that what you call it, to do more things for you. So that's fine. The next building that we have, obviously, is we need some lumber. I'm going to place that relatively close to the trees. It doesn't necessarily matter exactly where you have it. I do want to turn around because I think I want my other industries in a different location later. But this one can be built. And as you can see, a little serve down here, speed this up with key number 3. We'll go out, be like, hey, these trees are in the way. Chop, chop, chop. They take them down, and then they will start picking up resources from our starter location, the village center, which is wonderful. And then they just start building this, and now we have a lumber camp. Cool. Let's lumber up. This is all you need? No. You need painting and wood cutting. So let's start painting. There's a little paintbrush down here, and you will get different options over time, which is super. In this case, all I'm really caring about is get me some trees. And trees you will go through really quickly in the beginning and then not as quickly afterwards, and then you will kind of run out of them all the time. So just keep a good eye on how many trees you want to run and want to have, but this is a good start. Cool. New buildings available. Yes, there's always going to be more stuff popping up here. One of them is the forest camp, which you may have guessed is there to replant forests. So you don't need a ton of these, but if you have 2 lumber camps, for example, 1 forester is probably fine. I don't min-max, so I am not 100% sure which one of the, or how many of these you actually need per thing, but someone's going to put that in the comments, and I appreciate that. So that's the first one that can build this. If you have multiple constructions going on, you can increase priority if you want to, but it's relatively simple. It's just an on and an off button, which I can appreciate because then you don't have to micromanage the micromanagement. So that's good. The other thing, currently we only have 4 resources, is some food. You will start with some berries. The game is nice enough to tell you exactly where they can gather some from. You really don't need a lot of bushes for berries, so that's where we're going to place, and they can build that and figure it out. That should be good. Cool. Do you need to tell them where to collect the berries from? No, luckily not, and that is good for us. Anything else? Well, do you see the little path over here? That is like not auto-generated, it just gets generated over time. Let's assign a forester over here, and then this is special. You have to paint the reforestation area, and it makes sense to keep that close to where your wood logging camp is currently sitting, and just to make it as big as you want to. Generally it works out just fine. And there's another here, per building zoning. There are some of those, but right now we should be good. Let's make sure that we have enough food available, and then we can look at how many workers do we have left. Currently none. That is this, villagers unemployed. So everyone is doing something useful, which is wonderful. And exactly what we want to do, but we have completed all our initial quests. Wonderful. That's been like 10 minutes. So now we can actually do something more useful, which is grow our population. So now that you have organized your laborers, you can tend to their needs and happiness. Make sure they have access to fresh water and housing. As for food, you will first need people to store and distribute berries they collected. No problem. So we're going to start drawing some residences, and this is what I was talking about earlier. You don't actually build housing, you just make sure that they have a spot where they like to house. And I will try to keep them over on this side, and there's already a house starting to build, which is wonderful. But it will tell you, and it will not take super long, where you run out of building space, and then you have to expand, which is why I wanted my first territory not to be on the water, because it does take away some of the building ground. But we do want to get to the water eventually because there's fish in there, and fish is yummy food. So villager needs, what would you like? You would like a well. You would like a well. Cool. The well costs stone. We have 0 stone, so we can't build a well because a well costs stone. What we have to do is build a stonecutter camp, and I'm putting it a little closer to my industries here versus putting it closer to the residentials, just so it doesn't have a negative effect on anyone, because we don't want to make anyone angry at all. We're just going to get that one here, and they can start building that. But, big but, you may realize that we still don't have any extra workers. So what are we going to do now? We have a builder's workshop over here, and they're all working and doing busy things, and all that is great. Some tools got delivered here, and we still need 10 logs, which luckily we have enough logs. It just takes them a little while to build all the things up, and then when this guy is done, we still won't have a worker available. This is more a problem, as in most games, in the very beginning, which is wonderful, because it lets you actually think about what do you want to do here. So the game doesn't let you assign anyone, and you may have a hard time finding the right person. The forager feels very important in the beginning. We don't have that much food, so we don't want to do that. But I will actually take one of the builders. So I'm just going to assign that. I am curious. Home to work distance, 9 minutes. So you can totally use this to your advantage, because the less they have to walk to work, the better for them. So it does matter who you assign when you assign them. I haven't actually looked at that before, but all these houses just pop up, and once they are popped up, they should be relatively happy. They're only missing one more thing, which is a well, and the well can be somewhere near the housing. I don't know that it matters that much. Probably a little bit just for efficiencies and getting things started. But this is your starting point, and well, they will just build a couple things, so we'll get a couple rocks up, and once the well is done, we get the next task and the next buildings. And the last stone is getting delivered, which means he can hammer on the ground over there and get things actually moving. But they keep nice and busy. The guy over here is just looking at the papers, making sure the plans are being followed, you know, Stifler. But things are just moving, and the guys generally look relatively busy most of the time, so that is neat. The next thing that we need is actually make sure that the villagers can get what they want, and what they want is food, and food can be had in, well, really just one way. We need a village market, and we'll start with these two things. We have a food stall and a rustic market tent. The rustic market tent increases your attached building part capacity by 20. That's wonderful, but I don't think we need that just yet. So what we're going to do is just find a place here. Let's call this the marketplace at some point, maybe, potentially. And you could build this right away, and you can attach it if you wanted to, but you are not required to do that, and you can also edit them later. So you can just build this one, and if we wanted to, we could click this little edit building button. You can click on the actual building, move it to another place if you wanted to, add whatever things you want to add later on. All of those things are fun. Or you just clear changes, and it goes back to the thing that was already happening before. Trying to click the right buttons here to get out of this, but let's build this one. And people do go home and have free time and don't want to work and don't want to do something, so that may slow you down sometimes, which is why getting someone in here that's not super far away from work can be very helpful. And I'm actually surprised that everyone is super far away from here, but the stone person was so close to work already, but that's fine. What you can always do is just watch these guys do their thing. They're getting some water. You're going to work, maybe, potentially, probably. You're getting some rocks, putting it in the little cart over there. And then you're like, you know what? I think that market stall is probably about ready to be done something with. Like, work there. Speaking of work there, market stall is now done. We are a village. Editing building. So I just explained that to you, so I'm not going to go over that again. New ruler title unlocked. I'm a lord or a lady. Cool. Our happiness is not very good, and we currently don't have any worker assigned to this tent, so nobody can get anything at all. Let's find someone that's not too far away that is actually available. And right now I will take a woodcutter. Because we have 3 woodcutters, we don't need that many. The only thing you still have to do is make sure that you get the resources that you actually want to sell here, which in this case is berries, which we have a lot of. And most of our berries are stored here. We're already full. So that's cool. And I think we have a couple more berries sitting here as well. And then the tools and cloth, which I don't want to waste any of those resources. So we're just going to sit tight until our happiness sits at 50. Now, happiness will go up As long as we provide everything. It can hover over here. It's very similar to Manor Lords, which I'm not going to go into who did this first because I don't know. I don't know that it's either of these two games. But happiness at 50%, and we're losing 50%, 25% for refined food, and 25% for rustic food. But, well, they have needs, right? They're not getting refined food or rustic food. We cannot get refined food right now. That's later for bread and for bakeries and for other things like that. And we're not ready for that yet. We can't unlock it. But we are moving slowly in the right direction, and these guys will just happy up one by one, and things will be good. Now that everyone is happy enough and has accomplished everything they want, you get your next quest, which is advice, profiting from trade. So you need to go out, and you don't have to read all of that because all your steps are really shown down here. You need to go out and figure out how you are going to make money now. So you need some prestige, prosperity thingy. So you go to your common path down here. You have 2 prosperity, which this is unlocked right away. So if you don't play the tutorial, you can play with these ASAP. But we need to unlock storage so we can actually get a warehouse, and the warehouse is needed to do trade. Note here, we only have some coins and they are getting low, and currently we have nothing coming in. Luckily, nothing going out either, but now that we're starting trade, that's no longer going to be the case. Let's build something useful, like a warehouse. This warehouse is going to be able to, store wares, which is what it's there for. And I like to place this close to our industries as much as we can. I call them industries. You can call them something else. I think that's probably a better word for it. But the first thing that I will want you to sell is planks, and planks you need to make in a sawmill because that makes perfect sense. Where do I like to place my sawmill? Exactly right next to the woodcutter's camp, so they have the shortest path possible. Try to not overlap them too hard to get your things done. So this one costs 10 coins. That's the build cost, and then there are also some materials down here, which you don't want to ignore because you cannot forever build more and more and more and more and more and more. That will just cause you trouble at some point. Over here is a granary. If we have enough materials and enough people to build this, I think that is something we can jump into right now. It's just the thing that, well, we do have some rocks. We don't have any of this yet, so let's make sure that this gets built. Yeah, we don't have enough rocks available right now. We could probably take someone from here, from the gathering hut, and give them a new goal, which is make more stone, because more stone should get us to build the sawmill faster. And once we have the sawmill, we should be good. However, look at that, those pluses. These are people that came from somewhere, and the longer the game runs, the more you can see it. There's a very faint path already walked in here by 2 people walking over it, but that's where they came from. They came from the outside of the map, and as long as your immigration status is high, people actually want to come to you. So if you keep this nice, people are relatively happy with you. What we're going to do is actually accept these. You actually have to click that. When the timer runs out, obviously, that will otherwise just go away. Let's assign someone here, and then we have 2 unemployed right now, but that's not a problem because let's get 1 on the workers. Sure. Let's get 1 on the workers, and this one should be done soon. And we will need people for the sawmill, but also people for the warehouse because things have to be moved around, otherwise nothing is going to get done. So the beginning is nice and slow and walks you through everything, and if you watch this, you probably don't need the tutorial up to this point, but we're not quite done yet because there is this thing, and I clicked the wrong button already, and that is okay. I want to click on trade. No, that's my budget. I don't think you can do the trading until your warehouse is done, so I guess we have to wait for that. So that's fine. Let's wait until the warehouse is done. And just like that, the warehouse is about to be done, unless this person goes home and sleeps and then nothing gets done because, 2% are left on the workplace to get things over the hump. But no, we actually completed this. Wonderful. We're still full on a lot of wares, so what I'm going to do is take one of the woodcutters out here. We did gain 2 extra people earlier and put someone over here because the next thing we have to do is assign planks to the warehouse, which is the last step before we get the next thing. Oh, two extra people. Wonderful. How many people come in? I don't think that's predetermined, but the more very high or high at least attracts a good chunk of people most of the time, which is wonderful. So opening the royal cookbook. Yes, it's not the cookbook, but we're going to open that. I'm going to allow these two guys in. Royal tab is over here, and now you have to set up trade. So unlock a trade route to trade planks. For that, what we have to do is go into trade routes and look at what our options are. And I'm going to let this run for a little while because you can unlock all the different trade routes, and each trade route will give you different tokens. So there's an allied with labor, allied with clergy, allied with labor, allied with kingdom, etc., etc. So there are different allegiances, potentially, if you want to call it that. And all of them will tell you what they do. For example, from these guys, we can buy all of these things. Well, that's fun. You can also sell to them all of these things, which we don't have any of them, but it tells you the coin value of those. I'm not sure if there's an economy here where the coin values actually change, but Northbury is the one that you're most likely going to start with. And they will purchase from us polished stone, very important, planks, meat if we have it, wine, sure, herbs, and gold ore, gold bars, etc., etc. And we can purchase from them tools. Tools is very important. Once we're out of tools, we're going to be really annoyed. But all of these things are nicely laid out right here. And you should account for those when you do go to the next trade route or when you unlock them, because you can't do all the things, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense to have a trade route that you cannot trade with right away. So be aware of that. We're just waiting until we get 20 planks so we can actually unlock this trade route, and then people are going to show up and buy stuff from us. And, well, we'll say we will buy stuff from them. Yeah. And if you're patient enough, then your 20 planks will actually show up in the right place. I do think they have to be in the trading post before you can use them to purchase something, but here we go. We've unlocked it. Level 1. You want to trade 40 volumes. Quantity of resources brought and sold from this trade route. Last 30 days, the minimum required for upgrade the trade route. Once you reach this amount, you will earn a new mandate to upgrade. Woohoo! That's pretty fun. So all we have to do is give them 40 things of something. Great. So now we have the trade route unlocked, but that doesn't mean that we're trading anything yet. For that, you have to go over to the resource tab. And I know that this tab got completely revamped from early access to right now. So if this looks new, it took me a couple minutes to figure out where things are. But here's planks. All we want to do is sell everything above that value. We cannot purchase it because we don't have a trading partner that takes this stuff. So that should make sense. And we're just going to be able to sell everything, whatever they want to take, because it's not worth a lot of money. What we should do is get some tools at some point, and we want to purchase buy until inventory reaches the value. I want to keep 20 probably, just to make sure that we have it when we run out, because now we're getting into the phase where we will add a lot of buildings that require more things. The last thing that we can do today is probably the manor house, which is fun, and then we can expand our territory next episode. But what we want is acquire manor house in the progression menu. Got it. So we can go to progression. Now we have more stuff unlocked here, and as you can see, there are different points everywhere. At 0 points, we can get this one. We can also get a castle. We can also get a monastery, etc., etc., and we can get a rustic church splendor package. Woohoo! I don't know. But we can unlock the manor house, which is what we want to go with right now. And with the manor house, there are a couple funny things happening. But those, well, we'll look at them as we get there. Here is the manor house. First, you get to choose. Do you want to build a great hall? Do you want to build a tax office? Or do you just want to build stuff? And I think we're going to start with a great hall, because that's what the game generally expects you to do. And we're going to place it somewhere. You could place it on property that's already claimed, or I'm going to just place it right here. Let's align it in some orientation, and you can choose to make it a skyscraper, a 2-story normal village home, or not. But if you look on the bottom right, each adjustment does change the price that it costs to build this thing. Right now, I don't want to splurge on anything, so we're just going to build this. And if you look down here, it will tell you require at least 1 room, 1 visitor location, and 1 interior access, which we don't have yet. So let's do the rest. For visitor access, I need this guy or this guy. One is more important. One is more expensive than the other, which I like this. That looks good, but now I don't really like the orientation of the house anymore. So I want the entrance to be in the front. Cool. And then we just need a visitor location. They can come in from this side. That looks good, and they're going to go there. Now we can start building this. Over time, you will have to get more buildings added to this, and that was confusing to me the first time I had to do that. But let's get tools in here, because if we assign it, we can actually start trading it. And if you don't like what you have or need something else, and for example, you need to add a tax office, then it may be confusing and you may be tempted to build it from the just another building that then has a tax office. But no, you're supposed to click down here where you then click make a tax office, and you can make it this one. You can attach it to the building that's already here. Unsure if this increases or decreases happiness. There's only one way to find out, but yes, this is the thing that we can certainly add here, and then other things as well. So that's all pretty cool. But let our building get built, and then we will be back with more, because we do require a lot of planks before this thing is actually happening. Do we have an extra builder? We do have an extra builder available. Wonderful. Cool. The game gets very deep from here on out. If you look at the progression, this is like a research tree a little bit, and as you can see, there's some bow warfare and some other things going on there. I have not played that far in this version, and I don't fully remember what happens there, but I think it's pretty much your choice on how much you do and don't want to do over time. So stuff is pretty well balanced. Here looks like we're getting 3 volunteers again that want to join our company, which is wonderful, because we do need more people, but we are starting to run out of buildable space for the residences, so I do have to expand here relatively soon, and that will be the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this game. There's a demo out available. Again, this game would have released today when this video comes out, and if this is something that interests you, check out the demo and see where that goes. I'm sure a lot of other people cover this as well, so see if they do something different if you're not sure yet. Thanks for the developers for giving me access to this early access thing. I know I played it a long time ago, but it's quite fun to come back to this, and there's something special about the medieval city builders that have been out and about for quite some time now. But there you go. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.